Shot for goal, shot for goal, shot for goal, shot for goal! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. Welcome to Shot for Goal. Noah Brinkworth, alongside myself, Stefan Rapazzo, bringing you up to speed with what's happening around the world of Ultimate now. We've been on a bit of a break from publishing because we've been very busy. There's been lots happening, so lots to catch up with. Noah, how you doing over there?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling relaxed. I've had a couple days off after I got back from Logroño, Spain. Yeah, June has been a busy month, like the climax of our year for both of us, Steph. I think yourself with the SuperTeam, and we'll talk about how that went first out in London Invite, and myself with U24s, where I had the chance to play with the GB Mix team, and I had a really great time. And U24s was just as exciting a tournament as ever. But talk to me about London Invite and SuperTeam and all that good stuff.
Briefly before, when we didn't even talk about this prior, but there was also the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships. There was also Gspot that we did for the first time. We've got more coming up. And to make sure we give those some love, quick chat. Let's make it quick. Gspot first. Noah, you and I were both there. Super fun to stream that tournament. It's a party tournament. It's always seemed maybe a cut below as far as the competition level goes. And certainly from the top tournaments, it is. But I was very impressed with the level of play there. It was good ultimate. Like certainly once you got to quarter semis, finals, we were watching some good streaming, some good ultimate.
We were, and I'll say we did have a couple technical difficulties there. So if you're a team that was affected and was streamed, we're sorry about that, and we've made some changes to make sure that all future events will have smoother streaming. But yeah, Steph, I mean, the thing that I was most impressed by is just the setting and the organization. The kind of scale of like the tent where they had the party and served the food, the quality of the food, the amount of organizers they had that tent completely ripped down like 2 hours after they ended the tournament, which was crazy to see.
Big tent, they get a stage in there, a full kitchen in there, like a proper industrial kitchen. The food was really good.
And there's been some like media about the Ghent community in Ultimate and their youth scene, and I think that as strong as their youth scene as well, it's been supported by a strong set of masters, grandmasters, and older players with kids in the scene. Yeah, the elders of the scene who have not just shied away. They have cultivated the tournaments, the opportunities for the next generation. I mean, we got to stream the youth tournament the day before. That was a fantastic experience, and the quality of Ultimate was actually very, very impressive. I loved how they switched up the rules and the timings to
field size.
Yeah, and the field size to just match all of the players' ages and their heights and physical abilities and all that. But the technical ability was very strong. But a final plug to Gspot is something you can't fix about tournaments where they're held, and that field site, and most importantly, the proximity just to walk on from Tournament Central straight to the edge of the beach, where they also have these like slides and stuff set up. That's pretty special, and I can see why people come back for that.
And we didn't make it to the party, but the talk was all about like getting on the boat and taking a boat into town, like right into the center downtown. Ine showed me the day after this where the boat would have dropped you off if you guys went to the party. And it's like right in the center, and then you go back and they got this band and they got a brass band, and it's good old fashioned fun. So get to Gspot in the future. Big ups to the people in Ghent. Moving right along to Gdansk in Poland. No, you weren't with us there, but
and to be honest, I don't know a lot about it because I was having my final training weekend for U24s, so
you were locked in. But quickly to catch up, it was beautiful tournament. Sand was something everybody was talking about. Super dense, like it was like quicksand. It wasn't quicksand, but it was like a lot of people were saying it was like harder to run in than fine sand. It was harder to bounce, like to get a big leap and get up off of than some of the fine sand. It was still great ultimate. I mean, it moved well. It was a weird at first, is what I thought, setting, because it had this big shipping yard in the back, but it actually was like somehow beautiful, aesthetically pleasing. This big shipping container, like a lot of our color shots would be like of the a shipping crane like lifting a thing and then like zooming back out to the field, which was cool. The champions in mixed were Ufa from Portugal. They had a great game in their semi. It was super, super close. And then kind of got up big in the final. The champs in
Who is on
open.
that UFA team these days? Because I know they switch up and bring over
Yeah, they
American like a
had like
Malinowski or Alex
no,
Nelson or
Malinowski wasn't there. They had the two Estonians and Jakob Tam and Helen Terra. They
mm-mm.
had Yulia Kramova, Ines Brodingel. I'm trying to think of Pedro Vargas, the other Vargas, three Vargases, Philippa, and yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of their other add-ons, and it's not coming to mind right now.
They didn't
Uh,
have the DC Breeze guy who's played with them a few
no,
times, whose
Jamie
name
Roy.
escapes
No, he
me.
wasn't there.
Andrew Roy,
Andrew
who
Roy and not Jamie Roy.
yeah,
Jamie Roy I went to high school with. Oops.
yeah.
He doesn't play Ultimate. Um, anyway, so they got the win. They looked really good. Poland Solaris looked really good. They destroyed
They're
everyone
a great
15
team.
through in a quarter, and then like 15, I don't know, 4-6 in the semi. They won big in the final against Barcelona Sharks, who were very good, but still just got plowed by Solaris. This was like they're coming of age, I guess, after being close and close, and then
Yeah.
they get the home Euros, and I think it ended up being a national team more than a club team, but it started as a club team, and they just they're not breaking any rules. They follow the rules. They're picking the best guys, all Polish team, and they were super strong, untouchable. And then the women's Jinx outclassed everyone. Troubles met them in the final. Polish team, which is cool to see a couple Polish teams in the finals. But Jinx,
The Troubles do
Anna
better than they
Garner,
did at UCF. Or maybe that was
yes,
against Chris. No.
Anna
There was a
Garner, I think was awesome. By the way, just to finish up, but it was Nikki Priyan and Levka Volchak. There's a great stat in the system. I love Bula and their play tracking system, but there's a great stat, best connections, and like the
mm,
two people with the most stats connecting together, and it ended up being Levka and Nikki Priyan with like 27 or something, and they outdid
wow.
Jamie Rabbits and Alex Atkins in the open, and no, they were also in mixed division, not open, by one or something. But
Mm.
it's a cool little stat to add on. But yeah, Jinx got it done. They partied hard that night.
Oh
We get
yeah.
to go out and party with them. So it was good old fashioned fun. And that is a quick recap of EBUCC. So much more about it, but we got to move right along.
If only, Steph, there was some sort of national mix team that Anna Gerner could really show just how good she is on grass
Mm,
on and contribute to that. We're
yes,
going to talk about London Invite and of course the main of. Is it okay to move to the main event first, Steph, and
of
talk some
course.
mixed while we're here?
Of
I mean,
course. But did
we're
the
in
rest
the
even happen? No, I'm just kidding. Of course it did.
it was a great tournament as
Yeah,
well. It's actually
it's a
nice to
great
see
tournament.
the Australian Canadian U24 teams come and bring some flavor and bring some like pretty good performances as well. They were threats. But we'll talk about that in a second. I mean, uh, Steph, the super team, they had, people say that you have a roller coaster time. And I think, Steph, there has never been a team's performance with more ups and downs. Yeah, I think that you had some fantastic highs on the practice day, fell short hugely against Germany early,
Yeah,
and then this incredible lift hill up to the top to beat the US
yeah.
and falls down at the end of the tournament. I mean, you've got to have many mixed emotions about it, Steph. You called
I
out the
have
US
mixed
World Games
emotions.
teams.
I have mixed emotions, and I will let them all out. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm quite proud of how it went. I run my mouth for promotional reasons, but also like, okay, but I'm putting a great team together. But World Games teams, I always knew like, okay, this is another kettle of fish compared to what we saw at Windmill the year prior. The first game against Canada, like we were crap. I was like, man, we're gonna be crap. This is not how this is supposed to go. We got to halftime. Sarah Eklund showed up, and then we went on like an 8-2 run and won the game and beat Canada. It wasn't streamed the second half of the game. Like we had some streaming issues. It
Oh,
may
I
be
forgot
recorded.
about that.
It may be recorded. Streaming was crazy. But it's like, okay, whoa. I was like, I think I said in the huddle after, I was like, guys, like I was willing to succumb to the fact that Super Team will not be undefeated. We're gonna have to take our lumps along the road here, and c'est la vie. And then we something happened. We had a spark. I'd like to say Sarah Eklund showed up. She was great. She was very impactful. We were running with 7 women because Cappy wasn't there, Manu wasn't there, and Sarah Eklund wasn't there for that part of the game.
Mm.
So
weren't
the
the other
women were
weren't the
running.
only team running with 7 women at that tournament as well?
No. I mean, what US did it right till the end.
Mm.
I mean, well, they went from 8 to 7 or 9 to 8 to 7 quite quickly, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Chastain played at all. But
yeah, I don't think Chastain played at all.
So then Deep Space, who bitched and moaned a whole bunch because they didn't get invited to the tournament. We invited them to play a friendly, and I think it was very clear in the end why their spot wasn't automatically granted. The floor was wiped with them, very much so.
What was the score in that one, Steph?
I think it was 15-4 or 5 or something. It was a lot to not that many. They got a couple extra in the second half, maybe a bit more than that, but I don't believe much more than that. But we went into cruising speed by the second half. It's just like, all right. We played the kids after, which was awesome. A bunch of high school kids, and shout out to Mark Bignall. It was like, please, Steph, come on, make this happen. Kids have been waiting. And I was like, yeah. I went over to Super Team, and they were like pumped. They were like, yeah, let's play with the kids. I was like, yeah, just 5 minutes. They played for 25 minutes. Like the likes of Nick Whitlock and Tam were like laying out and going like super hard. I was like, hey, easy for tomorrow. And so that was day 1. That was Friendly Friday. Day 2, we woke up and we were very much pushed by the Canadian under 24 team. And so first, the wind is the great equalizer, and the wind hurt us a lot, I would say, without any
especially upwind downwind games, because it's just such a buff to the team going downwind when it gets
we had no
windy,
chemistry.
right?
Like we had no, it's tough when it's like. I think if that was Stiller days, we do a little bit better in our opening game, but coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever. That's the way it happened. But I think Canada led till 7-6. Canada under 24. And we beat the World Games team the day prior. We're like, yeah, of course we're going to destroy this under 24 team. They played good. I think at 7-6 we scored 4 in a row. We got the upwind hold, or the upwind break, and then the downwind break right after. And then it was like, okay, then we got on a run, and then we didn't put it away, but then we were in a comfortable spot where I was like, okay, they haven't been able to break up wind all game. We got a 3-point buffer now, 4-point buffer, and it was okay. We could put them away. But yeah, shout outs to them. They were great. Nishizaki was really good. Yeah, who else was really playing great? Was it Fortier, I believe her name? Small, number 6, if my brain.
Oh, yeah, she was awesome when we played them.
Yeah,
when we played them, Shigley was super good handling the ball, and Mock was also a great player. I think Sam Mock.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised they did well in the wind, because I thought that, as a lot of the North American teams do, they just had like, even if we could kind of run with them, they could outthrow us a long way. They had beautiful break throws when we played them, so I'm not surprised to hear they fared pretty well in the wind.
So then it was like our big game, Germany, but like we went into it like not really big gaming. Like we went into a corner, we were avoiding the heat. We were late to try and get warm up space, and like barely warmed up. Then I was really pissed at Clapham. They were playing Bristol before us, and this last point went late. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, and I like ran onto the field. I like wanted to like give the team like, and they're like, no, 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 this is an EUCS game. We have to play to 12. And I was like, says who? Like, this is a London invite game with super small fucking time slots. Get off the field. And I was arguing with Nathan Ragg, and he was like, no, we have to blah, 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 blah. And like, it's their tournament. And I was like, okay, I don't even know what's going on, but we let them play another point, which happened to be another like 4-minute point or something. And then Clapham got scored on again. And it was like, now it's like 11-4. It was 11-3. And they needed, like, I was like, in that interim, I was like I was like, why are they still playing? And that, like, or that people were asking me, and I was like, I know it's EUCS. I was like, bitching to Connor a little bit, bitching to PA. And PA was like, I'm on the competition committee. Like, it just will count for less. They don't have to get to 12. Like, this game should be over. And I was like, damn right, it should be over, kind of thing. Anyway, so we get on, we play Germany, and then they break early. No, we broke first. But then they broke a couple times. We had some really bad errors. I think in that game, like, we were really having a tough time finding ourselves. Like, there were still people playing like totally different styles. Like, Buja, love him, but was playing like super small ball, while like on the same line as like Feiner, who was like really waiting and like trying to like time these like super big area cuts. And like, we just couldn't get the right people on the right lines to really get an offense cooking. A couple people played well in that game. I thought Martina Kmetova had her best game against Germany. I think Manu got cooking in that game, but it was like, like, still. But once we went down, we were pushing shit uphill. All credit to Germany; they were great. I think I said at the start, like, nah, I see them as a little weaker than they were last cycle. Like, they're well coached. They are well put together. They have a great range of, like, bigs and smalls, and great throwing. You got Nico Mueller and Levka were running the offense, and I thought they were awesome. I thought Diekman played really well. And Nikki Prian, as per usual, was like a don't leave her alone or she'll make you pay kind of player. So they were good. And then we were down by like 3, and we were like racing the clock now to get back in. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, we've lost 5 minutes in a 60-minute game, 70-minute game. And then we were like on the line, like saying like, we got to score quick. And I just remember like hearing that, like, PA was saying it. I was talking to him, but he was saying it. And I was like, that's just bad advice. That's like, we can't be saying this on the line. And we were shooting early and shooting ourselves in the foot. They would go back the other way and score. And 3 turned to 4. And it was just like, son of a bitch. So we were like, at that stage, I was like, fuck, we totally fucked up. We fucked everything. Pardon my swearing, but there were probably way more expletives in my mind at that time. I had to go straight and commentate. So I was kind of begrudgingly getting on a mic. And so, we were two games in, and we were like out. Like, it was like, okay, what are the prospects here? We got to beat US by 4 at least. And that wasn't going to happen. I think we all were like, okay, let's, and then I think, but the good thing was the pressure was off. And once the pressure was off, because, that, like, it was heavy pressure in that Germany game. We knew we were like, we had to win. We went down early enough, even though we had the early break. We went down early enough. We were just playing pressure. And everybody's feeling the pressure. A team of superstars, everybody feels like, is it my turn? Should it be me who saves the team? Who's the person? Who's the dude? Who's the girl? Who's the woman who takes the show here? And it was pressure. So anyways.
Just to speak a bit to that German team, I think that some of my priors were changed, that I didn't expect Germany's depth to be as good as they were. Like, even like their alternates were really putting on a show. And then Nico Müller, I think people saw the performance at World Games where in 2022 where he was awesome, and then saw him play for Bad Skid and Germany across the next 3 years, and we're like, this guy's good, but like, he's not a top player in Europe. He's not a European top 10, and sort of writ that as him getting worse. But I just think it's that the the format of the World Games, mixed style, being in the role he is, suits him so well. And put back into that role 3 years on, he looks just the player he was in 2022, where he was absolutely excellent
Yeah,
and is
he has not
carrying a
lost his
lot of the
step.
offense. He is just as good, and the format is suiting him to a T.
So yeah, so many the depth was just nobody played bad. Lasse
No.
Hogan was really good. Joanna Erdman was really good. Ava Muller was really good. Nis Sonntag, like everybody was just nobody made mistakes. They all played their role. They all made a play when they needed to play. I would like. I mean, this year's World Games is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Because we'll get to France later too, and I have good things to say about them, even though they had a relatively disappointing weekend.
Mm.
But anyways, we did get to the big game, USA. It was the showcase game. It was a great atmosphere. I thought the crowd was full. The crowd was rambunctious and noisy,
Mm.
and we had amazing energy going in. I remember like everybody kind of had a moment to talk with lots of time. Like I got to say a word. All the coaches had a word. Our captains had a word. We were like the energy comparison between the start of the Germany game and start of the USA game was night and day. We were bubbling and ready. And then we come out and they go 4-0 up on us. So I think
Yeah.
it was 4-0 or 4-1. No, it's 4-0. And I was like, "What the? Oh, Jesus Christ! This is the worst." Now, like I mean, and so we took an early timeout, and the energy was the same. We most of those errors we did to ourselves, which we had been in the other game too. Germany, it's a lot of self-inflicted, a lot of unforced errors.
Mm.
But like it was like still like everybody was in it. Like the eyes were there. Like I still like Angela Zhu, one of my favorite players, because in a huddle, like when she's feeling it, like whether she's talking or listening, she's just smiling and nodding, like yeah, like just ready to get back out there. Angela was fighting an injury, like should not have been playing, and was playing in that game. And I think after that timeout, she was on the field right away and was doing a great job locking down. And then we got things going, and we scored our maybe not four in a row, but like tied things back up. By the time it was 6-6, so it was maybe a 4-2 run. I was like, okay, looking good again. And then they scored two in a row again. Like they just like we would catch up and they would put us down again. They would catch up and they would put us down again. So at halftime, correct me if I'm wrong, 8-6, 8-5, 8-6.
Yeah.
They went on another run to be like, we will assert our dominance. We are the USA World Games team. And so I'll talk about I'll let you talk a little bit about it too. How the style of the game, and like I thought it was the loosest game ever played.
Yeah.
Like the loosest
Post
elite,
half,
yeah,
it
second
was
half especially.
crazy. It was like I don't think there was a deep shot that anyone didn't take. It
Yeah,
really did look like, an AUDL, like WL kind of like showcase game kind of thing. It was like everyone was there to get their highlight play. And you can kind of expect that of the super team a little bit. You don't want too many players like that because it's going to get turn heavy. But, like sometimes turnovers breed turnovers. And I think that super team effectively dragged the USA into the mud. I think that the USA were also running short on the FMP side for sure. And when you go out and you go onto the line tired time and time again, then your decision making does loosen up. But I would agree with you, Steph, that I don't think I've ever seen a game as loose with as good players as there were on the field there.
It was like what is the most exciting play I could make? I'm gonna take it, and I'm that good. I can have at least a 50-50 or better, and a lot of them were 50-50s, and a lot came off. I mean,
Yeah.
there were 45 turnovers in that game, 23-22.
Yeah, I think it would
It's
be easier to
enormous.
paint it like Super Team started throwing up shots and they came down with everything. I think Super Teams started throwing up shots and they came down with like 40%.
Yeah,
But the
that's it.
USA were
Anyway,
turning as well. The
they
USA were
played.
throwing up
I
the
will say the
same
U.S.
bad
played right
shots.
into our hands. They played
Yeah.
like as soon as we started doing it, they were like, "All right, we're gonna." Somehow they started playing the same style. and
But
that worked for us.
in terms of the big plays, it was mostly the super team making them. I think that Whitlock had a completely standout game and standout tournament. What a player he is, and he was fantastic. I remember Mickael got a fantastic layout block on the back corner of the end zone. I think there was like some great Manu moments, as there's always great Manu moments.
I think
Just
the
a
two that
beast.
carried that team on offense were Manu and Ben Dameron. I think they
Mm.
were in the second half. We gave them space, really. I remember on the sideline, like yelling, "That's Manu!" And we call them Beast. That's Manu Beast space. Just give them the space. Let them cook.
Mm.
And they did. They moved it upfield so well. I thought Quinn Finer had one of his best games in the second half of that game. Uh, Floor Collarts, that hand block on Universe. There ended up
Oh,
being two more turnovers, so it wasn't the defining, but like Floor
did you
was
see the?
awesome.
Did you see that on that hand block as it's going out the sideline at like 3 meters out the pitch? Someone just smacks it down onto the ground and like mid-ing trying to greatest it, and like he wasn't gonna get the greatest probably, but he might have done it. It like could have been the coolest greatest any ever. But I think someone who wasn't even a player just like as soon as the disc
Smacked
got
it
like
down.
three
I did
meters
not
out, just
see that.
went
I'm gonna have to
slapped
go.
down.
I'm gonna
It's
have to go
right in
watch
the
that.
corner of the replay. It's like, and then he's like, dude, what the hell? Like, I was totally
Or
gonna
whatever. Ing
grace
made a
that
really
disc.
bad call in that game. Then when he backed
Which
into
Ing?
Whitlock, and then
Which
called the
Ing,
foul.
Steph?
Yeah, well, I told you on the sideline. I was so angry. I went and watched the replay. I was like, no way, no way. And I'm running back to the field and see that like we've accepted or something the foul. And I was like, oh my god, that foul's so bad. And like I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes later, I walked past Ing on the sideline, and I was like, "Hey, I just want you to know, I really disagree with that call. It was a horrible call. I don't know how you're getting away with calling that backing into somebody like."
It was a bad call.
And I just need to express that. I'll get on with it, but I want to tell you that I really did not like that call. And I was walking away, and I think it was Kocher next to him, and he's like, "He's talking to the wrong guy." And I heard out of the back of my head, and I got like bashful and red faced, and I like realized that I was talking to Mickael Ing, and it was Henry Ing who I should have been accused. And I was like, "Oh God, I can't believe I made the wrong call, trying to be valiant about all this." But anyhow, second half went on. We cannot talk about that game without talking about the kids' game,
Don't worry, I wasn't
because
gonna let that go. It
the
was.
kids' games are halftime. The kids come on, and I was kind of stressing. I was like, "We got 14 minutes left. How much time do we got left?" Trying to tell Maddie on the other team, "Maddie, there's 14 minutes to go." And I'm trying to, what do we do? What do we do? So we got 14 minutes. We go have a huddle. We had a great huddle actually at the beginning and the end of that 14. Good chats in the super team huddles. But then we were watching this game, and the crowd was probably more fired up for this game. Like
Don't
once again, going
probably,
because
Steph. They were more fired up.
yeah, I mean, these kids were taking shots in the exact same manner. They were just like getting it and
They set the
banging it.
tone. They set
Yeah,
the
they
tone
did
for the second
well in the
half.
second half. They were awesome. And so big shout out to all involved in that game. I can't remember the name of those teams, the Eagles and
Epsom Eagles, Lloyd Park Leaks.
yeah, there we go. I always thought Epson should have been the Salts, but yeah, that's right. Epson Eagles. Well done on your memory, Noah. But yeah, so the
They
kids
were
blew it
like
up.
just really good at frisbee as well.
And then
Like,
even
to
the
be honest.
countdown, like the 10, 9, and they're still taking shots at the buzzer. And then the crowd, we want the kids. We want the kids after, the superstars take the line again. I loved it. I loved every minute of that kids game. And then to second half, we come back playing down by 2. And yeah, the stars aligned. Everything started working out, worked our way back into contention. I was going bananas on the sideline. I get superstitious sometimes based on where we score and where we get broken, which sideline I stand on. I remember staying on the far sideline a lot. I was like, I'm staying here throughout the game now. It's working. It's working.
Then you can't look at the replays of the foul calls as well.
Yeah,
Steph.
it's probably better too. But we got cooking. Jakob Tam in the second half. I don't know if we've said his name yet, but he was awesome. I think he cooked Grant Lindsley
I hear
once.
stuff that actually he's not very good and is massively overrated, and I can't believe he
I
keeps
keep
getting picked for
hearing
the
that.
super team.
People keep saying it, and I was like, watch this dude. He just won European beach. He's like, he's dominating. He's putting his team on his back with Tartu, and he steps onto like a super team full of superstars and plays his best ultimate in the biggest games. Last year in the final, he had his best game. This year against Team USA, he had his best game. Big
I've
Milk,
yet to
shout
see
out
him.
Yakum Tan.
I've yet to see him occupy a pitch where he wasn't in the top half of players on the
Yeah,
pitch.
it
And
doesn't
that's a
happen.
great value to have. It means you can put him on a team of any quality, of any sort of players around him.
Lola Dam got overshot like 4 times in that game. Poor woman, she is awesome
Oh
and
yeah, I
sent her
remember
body
that.
flying every time. It was like I think it Pingu sent the huck each time, or at least 3 of them, and missed her. And I was like, somebody just throw it so she can catch it. She's doing everything possible. And that one play by Whitlock when he catches it and threw that upside down backhand for like a 3 meter gainer or something. I was like, what? I remember coming off the side. I was like, don't ever do that again. Also, that was awesome. Uh,
It wasn't even a good one. It was like a terribly bad
oh,
upside
it
down
was terrible.
backhand
I
as well.
had my heart in my hands. I was like, don't let me do this. But Universe Point, it comes down to it. We were on D, and we got the disc back, and we gave it away. And we got the disc back, and we gave it away. And in the end, like that floor Collart's hand block was huge, but then
So
we gave it
sick.
back to them on a overthrow to the end zone, I think. And then USA turfed it on Universe, and I can't remember who. It's one of their FMPs, but just turfed it and gave it back. It's like, oh my god, we're gonna do it this time. It's gonna happen. And then it was again. Ben Dameron and Manu just moved it. There were a couple more involvement than the 2 of them, but they were really like primarily handling the disc. Got it into that corner, and Quinn Finer was doing a great job waiting it out. And I think it was very fitting that he got to catch the game winning goal, one of the snubs. But yeah, cut that game winning goal. We went bananas, and then there were bananas on the field, and then we're like, well, we just beat Team USA. We did what we were made to do. Like this team was built to beat USA. Like we're kind of
Over the
would
two
have liked
years
to
as
win the
well.
tournament, huh?
Over 2 years, because a little bit of behind the scenes, I don't know. This is probably quite public, but there was thoughts at a time that the US mixed team would come to Windmill last year for you
Yeah, they were
to go
signed
and
up. They
beat
were
there.
on the list until they saw us going, and then they bailed out.
Then they
I've maybe
bailed
made
out.
up parts of that story.
So
Uh,
I mean, there's proof that the super team, like a US national team, has never beat the super team. Is that
No,
true?
and I mean that they never will. I can
They
say
never
that.
will.
Matt, I heard Matty saying after the game, he's like, "You son of a bitch! You planned this. Like, lose to Germany, then you beat us. We can't even get our revenge on you. Like, we just got beat by you." I was like, "Yeah, we'll take it. You guys can win the tournament, but we're still better than you."
Mm.
So it was whatever. Great band. I loved the chat afterwards. But so we went into the clubhouse and had a couple drinks and justifiably celebrated. We're like, so we gonna play France tomorrow for fifth, and we like wasn't even like a bottom bracket. It was like play France and then see what happens and then play somebody else. And I was like, why are we doing it like this? I was actually a little. I didn't love that it was being done like that, but whatever. I was like, all right. Uh, how about we get loose? And who gives a shit about the game tomorrow? Not quite who gives a shit, but like it doesn't matter. Like if we lose that game, it didn't matter. So we did get loose. The bar had to shut us down. We ordered like Chinese food that took 2 hours to get there. Then when it did, there
Oh.
were no utensils. So it was like 20 drunk athletes like hand bombing rice and stuff, and it was using like bar straws as chopsticks. It was a bloody mess, but it was awesome. It was great bonding. Uh, and then the next day we played France. It was late enough that whatever we could rally. We were dusty, and again, if you talk energy, like we're right back to what it was when we played the Germany game. Small warm up, no real field warm up.
Mm.
We broke early again, and then floundered. We lost that one on Universe Point. Bonet got a great game winner up the line. He beat Whitlock up the line, which was great. But I think we just got just comfortable enough at the start of the game, and they were like, this was for everything for them. They'd lost all their games except the under 24 game they had. They were not getting a rhythm, and I think it was really good for France. They found their first rhythm, and talking to our players, they're like, this is the most athletically capable team we've played of all the rest of them. Like, if they can get their internals, if they can find their structure, if they can find their rhythm and their style, they will be as dangerous as anybody else. But they needed London invite more than anybody else. Say, like, hopefully those losses for them were good. And I mean, the win against us, like, they celebrate. I know Simon Ruel was like, mean mugging me on the side. I was like, all right, easy, pal. Come on, you guys lost all your game. We're in the 5 bracket here. It doesn't matter.
The only thing I'd say about that France team is, like, they didn't have the best weekend, but the talent's there. Like, and also, look, they can go to the World Games, not have the best tournament, and know that they're going to come back and be better year after year after year after year after year. So if they're competing this time, if they're pushing the Germans, if they're pushing the Canadians and the Americans eventually,
Australians,
they know that Elliot's got 3 more shots at this. Cammy's got 4 more shots at this. Eva Borno's got 4 more shots at this. Right? They need to just build for the future. Like, don't.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's they get a lot going for them, and I think they will be much, 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 much better at World Games. I think I like the way they selected that team. I think they get a small accusation of playing a bit of dude ball and using their MMPs more than their FMPs, and I see it. But again, they probably heard that, and hopefully they'll correct that because they should be using their women. They've got spectacular women on that team. So yeah, that kind of does it for Super Team. Let's quickly touch on the other divisions.
I mean, we should talk about the final quickly as well, right?
Yeah. So I didn't even see the final because I was on the bronze game. I was doing the Germany Australia, but so you might as well take us into the final. Canada USA, the 2 teams that Super Team beat both of them.
Yeah.
What happened?
I think, to be honest, the US just had a bit too much for the Canadians. I don't think there was a really abnormal rhythm to the game in the way that there was in the Super Team game. As you would expect, US cleaned up a lot of their turnovers, but weren't as clean as you'd expect them to be looking by Chengdu. I think Marquez had a great game and a great tournament, and there were other standout players. I thought Cammy was really, really good, and at times Anna Thompson was fantastic as well.
I thought
They go ahead.
tournament wide. Marquez Brownlee was their best distributing MMP, and I think, like, there was so much talk of, like, did Marquez make the team because he's MKBHD, or he? I think he silenced all the doubters after London Invite. He was awesome. He was throwing assists, inside backhands are his specialty. He was, but like, I thought he was, really, really, really good. I thought the best alternate was Christian Boxley. I think Maddie Sang's got to be wondering, like, geez, if I'm hoping one of my starters goes down. He's not thinking that, but if one of his starters isn't available, he would be more than happy to. I mean, Holzmeyer was really good too. Malks, no, was not bad, but I thought Boxley really stood out as the strongest alternate on that team.
I thought particularly in the earlier games, I don't think he was massively impactful in the final, Boxley, for me, but like, there was 2 games I think where he was like the best MMP on the field for the US, especially like their early scrims. The box was just like unguardable, and I don't think he stopped being unguardable. I think other people got more into the tournament as the tournament progressed. I think that the truth is for that US team that if they switch Boxley and Lindsley, the team would just get like quite a lot better in every way. And I don't think there's a particular outstanding skill that Lindsley has that really justifies him being on the field above Boxley. And I think that's harsh to say, but if he's 6'5", or if he's like an elite defender, you can at least make that justification. Really, the only justification you have is that Grant has all of the experience, right? And that he's going to be, he's going to be mentally ready for the challenge of the World Games. And though that's true, I just think the skill difference with how elusive Box is, I think he's a better defender, like, just makes him the better choice on the field. But I don't think that Maddie Sang can also make that kind of switch at this stage in the tournament unless someone goes down, right?
Good.
It would,
I mean, you can do whatever you want. I think there's no, regulation against it. Like, announcing your roster is something that is like just done just for media's sake. I think, like, Colombia hasn't officially announced their whole roster. They can change it. Japan, they're holding their cards. I
yeah,
know they've made announcements, but not exactly like. So I like that. There's no need to tell the public. I mean, I'm a media pundit, and I love knowing, and I love yapping
yeah,
about it. But really, like, for the good of your team, I think that secrecy is very good.
yeah.
Uh, I
I
think
don't. I
with
just
the
think that,
U.S.
like, right now, with the exception of like the Japanese team where they are more disconnected from the rest of the scene, I think once you tell the players, you almost tell the media. Like, I don't
Mm,
think that there are, if it's like a football club, right? They don't leak their squad announcement for the tournaments most of the time
mm,
because the players understand they've got a professional agreement that, it's hours before they get out on the pitch. But like when players are going to tell their teammates and friends about who's on if they made the team and who else made the team, and
yeah,
so I
and
think that
having
once the
like
players knows,
some
everyone kind of knows, right?
having more time to know and play together. Of course, is chemistry building. If you're like, waiting and waiting and waiting, those players are like, antsy and unsure, and they've got this anxiety about whether they're actually going to be on the team. There's no comfort level, like no ability to like settle in with the 14. So there's two sides to the equation as per usual. I really want to say, like, the best thing that US has going for them, they won the tournament. They lost to Super Team, Tokay Super Team. They played without potentially their top three FMPs. I mean, arguable, of course, when you get to that level. Like, Claire Trope for sure, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. But Trope not playing, Claire Chastain with like the veteran, and Kayla Helton, well, also a veteran, but like the probably the fittest woman on that team, fittest and fastest. Uh, you add those three and take away the three alternates who played quite well, I thought, KJ particularly.
Yeah.
Uh, they're just they're just gonna get even scarier.
Yeah, I think if one of those three can't make it to the tournament, you've got to add KJ. Like, I
Yeah,
think Liv does more spectacular things, and I think she'd be more at home on a super team or maybe even another nation. But I think as an add-on, I think KJ is the clear choice. I think Lindsay McKenna is a little bit one dimensional, more of like a pure scorer kind of thing. You could see her in a similar vein that you could see Boxy of just like, go shake in the downfield space and go get a big gainer.
mm.
But I thought KJ was just like class all the way through the tournament. So I think that they're going to be in solid stead if one of them goes down. I think I would agree that two of those players you mentioned are the in the top three American players, but I don't agree for the other one, and we'll talk about who that is later, unless you squeeze it out of me. But
I could guess.
uh,
I've heard you talk about it before.
yeah, you probably know stuff, but I
Yeah,
think
we won't. We won't. I mean, unless you want to talk about it, I'm not going to squeeze it out of you. But
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens at the tournament, and you can bring it up and tell me I'm wrong if she's actually fantastic at the tournament. But I will say that with those injuries, like none of them looked mega serious, right? We didn't really see Chastain because we didn't see Chastain at all. But like Trope came off the field under her own volition and was walking. Same for
yeah,
Kayla, who just sort of
they
had to
both
come off
had
the field at
niggles. They
some
both had
point.
injuries
Yeah.
that were like, they hurt me right now. If that was the World Games, both of them would be playing. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the US come out of the tournament better off than they came into this tournament, so long as they have a completely healthy trope. If
Yeah, I
there's
think they benefit
any
the most
threat to
from
the
a prep
trope,
tournament. They
yeah,
benefit
I
the
think that was
most.
said before the tournament, and I was wondering if that would work out as it did, as we expected. And I think it did. I think that they will put themselves beyond the field, and I think that the kind of like scouting and game planning is not going to be as big of a factor, such that
Noah,
they
will
can
you
take
give
advantage.
a rating out of 10 or an A plus to D plus for each World Games team? Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Okay. Yeah.
USA,
Um. Just flat B.
flat B. Okay.
Maybe B
Canada,
minus. Uh. A minus. I'd take them as an A if they didn't lose the super team on the warm up as well. And I also would like to see more out of Anushka, who I thought has done more other times I've seen her play. I thought Sarah Jacobson would really break out in a way which I didn't quite see, and even Kurahashi at times I thought was quiet. BDS was unbelievable, and I think some of their male matching like Bryson
the
was a
BDS
lot better than I
call,
expected.
she's Britt DeSantos.
Yeah,
That pull, I mean, she had a couple, but the one that was replayed, I was like, oh, I didn't see it live. I was like, good.
I didn't realize how young she is as well. She's like 24 or 25. Like she's got like time being one of the
She's
best
got
players.
super team potential, is what she's got.
Hell yeah.
So okay, then we go down Germany.
Um, say, did they win the 3-4 or not?
They did.
Let's go A.
I agree with that. I think they would be the team I would give the highest mark to is Germany.
Yep.
Australia.
It's all based on expectations, right?
Yeah, of course.
They're surpassing expectations. I think Australia surpassed expectations from what I heard as well. I don't think I actually streamed Australia play once, so I can only go off performances and talk. But I would go. Where did I put US? If I have US, I'm
You
gonna have
give
them.
US a B minus.
I'm gonna put them level with the US, B minus.
Fair. They started well, and I think that they played 3 games to 5 against Germany and beat them 5-4 each time in their Friday friendly. But then lost in that third place game by I don't know, only like 2, but like Germany definitely had them in that game.
Did they play Canada or US in the semi?
US, my brain's telling me.
I think they played the US. Oh, it feels harsh to put them higher than the US though when the US won the tournament. But like the US shouldn't be losing games,
Yeah,
right?
US. I mean, the only team that you can understand them losing to is the Tokay super team.
Yeah,
And
of
then
course.
France.
D plus.
Yeah, I would say like a C, maybe C minus. But okay, you're a
I
bit
think
more
anything in the C is too generous for me.
fair.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, I think coaches have got a lot of work with that. Like that is a team that needs coaching big time. Chris Delpech and Olivier Labbé and the team over there, great coaches. They've done a great job with, they were with the women's under 20s. Part of them were with the team on the beach. They've got a great reputation for winning, and they keep getting the next job.
yeah.
But this is a bigger job. And it requires more modification right now, and they're gonna have to work that one out.
I've seen a trend in the coaching staffs of these teams getting like larger and larger and larger. I think that the France announced and they had like 7 or 8 people involved in the staff. The Canadians have 11 members of staff working with the World Games
Okay,
team.
super team at 8 for
Yeah,
one
there's
tournament.
yeah, like I think that it's actually really cool to see that teams
You
are
need it.
getting
I,
managers, they're getting 3 or 4 coaches, they're getting analysts, they're getting, they're getting S&C coach, they're getting nutritionist. Like we're building out the back ends to help these players
great.
act more like professional athletes. And I just
But
love to
then
see it,
it
right?
comes with acting a bit like professional athletes. Somebody get me my cleats. Where's my, a little bit of that.
I can see,
Uh,
like, I get what you mean hypothetically. Are you actually seeing any of that at the field, Steph?
I
Are
mean,
you
yeah, I see tiny bits of it. I almost like,
really? I've
I'm not going to
not
get
seen
any
any of that
further into
yet.
it, but I almost
You've got to
promote
tell me
this.
that
Like,
after.
I blow the smoke into these superstars and let them know you are superstars.
Oh, I do know one player who was a little bit like that actually from some of our uh Steph Marseille conversations
Yeah.
when we were shooting on the Wednesday.
Yeah, well, it's pretty funny, and I think it's great though. To be very very honest, like nobody's done it overboard, but there's like just a lot of people who are like, hey, I need how do I get things done so that I can perform? Who's going to help me do
Yeah.
this? Who's going to help me do that? I love it.
No, I think there's a real sensibleness to it. Like when you're out on the field, especially like from first pull to final goal, your time is so valuable and your effort is so valuable. You shouldn't be doing things that are like
Yeah.
gonna wear you down, right?
Nope. And I mean, for the years of Ultimate, that's how it's been. Everybody does everything, all administration, scorekeeping, setting the fields up, everything,
Mm.
all that crap, and like take it all away, take everything away to just play.
Do you think
Anyways,
teams will be sidelining at this tournament?
at World
If there's
Games,
that, yeah, at World Games. You
what do
know,
you mean
it's a
sideline?
big, it's like shouting at players, picking players
Of
to follow
course,
and shout up and down the field.
but
Do you
less
think
for
that'll ever
sure.
leave the game? Like as we have more and more staff and like
I mean,
more and
it's the
more,
only sport in the world where it happens. And like, don't
yeah,
tell me it's not equally as important in basketball or football or rugby or soccer. Like it's the same. You need that communication the same. Why does it happen
yeah.
in Ultimate and not the other ones? It's culture, it's tradition, it's started that way. But yes, I would hope that in a world where we have, eight staff, and if we do have reduced rosters going forward, like the World Games insists or is showing as an example, then those people need to sit down and relax and recover after long points, especially on
Mm.
hot days. Like you might imagine I was in Spain on the turf, like, and you only got
Oof.
14. Like when you're off, you're off. You don't want to be sidelining. So
Especially the first point you're off, and you only get 1 point off at World Games, realistically.
yeah, it's one on, one off. So
Mm.
I would say I could see that as something that is taken away from the game. It's not good for broadcasting. It's not good to have people screaming up and down the sideline, getting in the way of the shots. It's not.
Mm.
It's not good for. But it is culturally. It just seems right. I'm helping. A lot of the time, people screaming at you do help, but a lot of the time, people screaming at you, you're like, just shut up. Like that happens a lot too, where people are telling you things where like you either already know or it becomes a distraction to the job you're trying to do. You start doubting the job you're trying to do. Like you get it both ways. So I'm not
Mm.
sure. I think it needs to stay. I'd be more than happy for that to be like outlawed and an experiment to see how it works. Imagine,
Outlawed.
imagine
That would
like
be crazy.
Davide wasn't allowed on the sideline. Oh, that'd be so good.
We're gonna construct little like ice hockey boxes for all the players to sit and
Yeah,
just like
yeah. I get it. I
yeah,
get it. Like running up and down the sideline. Like sideline traffic is intense.
yeah.
In an
It can be a
intense
little bit.
game, like you gotta like bounce your way around, like step in front of people and stuff. Anyways, back to London
Mm.
Invite. Let's talk for 2 seconds about Open and Women. Open, Clapham won, Whipty do their tournament. They delayed, they shortened my Germany game. I'm just
Mm.
kidding. I love you, Clapham. You guys are wonderful. The final was great, actually.
Yeah.
The against Canada under 24,
Hmm.
who bronzed. We'll talk about that later as they went on. But I thought they played Canada under 24 played well. There was a great moment where did they play earlier or was that in the final when Morgan and
Yeah. No, that was in the final. It was
yeah, when
class.
Morgan exploded because Will Rollage jumped in front of Podnar and knocked him down. And
It was sort of
then
in like the rundown of the pull, and Will was just getting to go mark in front of Stack, and they sort of a clip of legs. I'm not sure I've actually seen the collision
I,
many times over and over,
I don't
but
think it was that. I only saw it once after. I didn't think it was that bad. But because Morgan Hibbert coached with Chris Artabello before. Those two just got straight into it. Chris, you can't do that. What's he trying to do, man? Like, and it got very personal, very quick.
I was
Between those.
like on cam 2 for that moment, and I was like, switch to me, switch to me, switch to me. And like right up in their grill. And then some Canadian, as they're having a fight, some
Yeah,
Canadian
got in
guy comes and
between.
stands like in the front of the camera lens, like to get right in my way. And I'm like, oh, damn it. I
Yeah.
gotta just press the button next time. And just very
Uh,
quietly film them having a go at each other. It's also a hilarious visual because Artabello's like 5'3" and Hibbert's like 6'4". So
yeah.
like, like there's not really a face to face kind of thing going on.
Yeah. Face to
Yeah,
face.
it was pretty intense.
But good game.
It's like
Clap
kind of
'em.
the like the Podnar thing. We'll talk about the Podnar thing
Yeah.
more, I guess, at some point. But part of the beautifulness of the Podnar story is he's quite a slight guy, like for all the physicality and and
Big
contact and
dude,
rules
tall dude, but
violations.
skinny. Yeah, skinny
Yeah,
dude.
he's pretty lanky. So if you can bring him
He's
down
quick
and he
like
could fall in there.
Morgan Hibbert, really.
Yeah, a little bit, a little
Not
bit.
too unlike Morgan as far as body composition goes. Uh, okay, so Clapham get the win. They won by 2, maybe they get an extra break in the second half, maybe
Mm,
3. Good win. They got the novelty size check. I think Canada got a lot out of that before going
yeah, they
to
did.
Worlds. I think it was a great showcase for them. Pet Nuto was the best player at London Invite for Canada. I think he remained in the top 3 or 4. But I
Yeah.
thought the news was awesome at London Invite.
Well, they added back in like Gallant
Podnar
and
Gallant, yeah.
and so you like I think they obviously Podnar was playing in that game. I'm not sure if Marty was also
Yeah, I
playing in
think
the
he was
game,
too.
but
They both played a couple with each squad at London Invite.
yeah.
But I think they did both play the final, if I recall correctly.
Mm.
So yeah,
But
that was good.
Marty's like main squad for World Games as well.
Yeah,
So you'd think that the World Games team would want him to limit himself a little bit more. They were certainly very good. I actually thought the Aussie U24 team was really good as well, but didn't perhaps perform as well.
they
I
played
think
good on the showcase game against Canada under 24, but they had a lot of disappointing games too.
I thought
Uh,
they were really good against Chevy when they played Chevy, and like Chevy just nicked it right at the end, and it could have been a different story for them. But they look like a talented team.
mm,
I think what Australia like struggle to have at that level is it seems like I can't see like the superstars that they're pulling through at the U24 age. I mean, Keys is being is a bit of the future, right? But
but he was
like
playing
he
World
didn't seem
Games,
to
not under
play
24.
U24s.
No,
Yeah.
he didn't.
Huh?
He was playing World Games only, not under 24s.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but obviously he is that kind of age, but he
Mm.
didn't shine at the U24 level, and
What
I'm
in
not.
Nottingham?
Yeah, I don't like. It's not the same way that the Italians are shining or that the Belgians are shining, and
Yeah, like I mean, the last Aussie Goanna's big showing was probably all the way back in Toronto in 2013. Like
mm,
I haven't seen. I don't think they've medaled since then. They got a bronze that time. They were
mm.
great
The
that
women
time.
were real nice in Nottingham. They
Yeah,
were they were an impressive team back in Nottingham.
Stingers,
Yeah, they've always
Stingers.
got great size as well. The Australians, like they're always bringing
Yeah, they get
lots of
upset with
players
me
in the
for
six
saying
foot.
that. James Bray from the Crocs. He's like, "Can you please say anything except that we have big lumbering women on our team?" Like you said that twice. I was like, "Geez, I'm sorry. You've got tall women. I won't say lumbering again. That makes some sense." And then Anna Ragaki was next to me. She's like, "Tom called me big once. You can't call women big." And I was like, "All right, all right. I'm sorry, Anna." So so anyways, they've got tall, dynamic, field stretching weapons
I
of
would
the
like to
SMC
say,
side.
for the record, that I have never called a woman lumbering. That's just Steph Patso having a personal
Stop it.
conversation with
I can
himself.
have a new guest host next week if you keep this internal. Uh, so anyhow, let's talk women's division. Uh, Bristol get the
Yeah,
win. I saw them play their semi when we were playing France, when Super Team was playing France, and I was actually like at the start of our game, I was watching them play Spice, and they were down. And I remember talking to Derbs on the sideline. She like shook her head at me. She wouldn't even talk to me. She was so into it and so disappointed they were down. But they
I think it
scored
was an
like two.
emotional weekend for Derbs for
Yeah,
sure.
they
In a
scored.
in a lovely way at the end, but
Yeah, it all
oh
came to
my god.
fruition. They scored 2 breaks in a row at least.
Mm.
One upwind playing defense. Yeah, but it was a break playing defense.
Spice in the semi had the disc on the end zone line and dropped the
Yeah,
clap
yeah,
catch in
yeah.
the end zone.
They gave away that game.
It's
But I think
brutal.
Bristol played better all tournament long, and then kind of had a
Yeah.
bad game in that semi, and did
It
just
seems to be
enough
a
to
good
get through.
matchup. Like Spice are almost all like they're staying in that matchup longer than they perhaps might expect based on how they do against other teams, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
I felt in the final when that the teams were quite well matched. I thought that Bristol were like scrappier than Iceni. I think Iceni were kind of playing prettier frisbee and throwing like nice big options to save passes, and Iceni were slightly trading ahead for a time. And then I looked down up until maybe sevens or something like that, and I looked down at the scoreline, and suddenly Bristol were up 2 or 3. And I was like, oh, the game doesn't feel like Bristol are pulling ahead here, but I think that they had a little bit more desire to just get the disc to the end zone, and that as points got longer, that Bristol looked more and more likely to clinch them. They played better in a bit of a dogfight. So in the end, Bristol pulled away and won by 2 or 3.
Yep. Again, I didn't see that live. I watched back a little bit, and of course, caught wind of it. But I was commentating a game while that was happening.
Mm.
We were doing a whole lot of commentating at that London invite. There's a lot of games to watch, so make sure you go back and watch them.
Yeah.
But congrats to Bristol for getting that one done. I think, Noah, we're going to end this one now, and we got more content. We're probably going to be in the same clothes for the next episode. But let's end it off here. Thank you all for joining us. London invite recap, plus a couple other small tournaments that were before it. Our next episode will be about World Under 24s. So for Noah Brinkworth, I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.